distracting me a little bit. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the biggest mistake that I see lots of people, particularly newbies to live streaming, make. And this isn't a judgment. It's more of, I guess some, things that I've observed that I see that you're making these mistakes, and this is what's keeping you stuck with your Facebook live streams. And this is what is resulting in you not seeing any impact, any leverage, and any results from your Facebook live stream. So I'm going to talk about the biggest mistakes that I see that people actually make, and what happens if you continue to make these mistakes, right? If you really want to move the needle in your business, if you really want to use Facebook live streams to help you get more leads, generate more authority, make more income from your Facebook live streams, then this is the live stream and video for you. And I'm also going to talk about what are some of the high impact things that you should be focusing on instead of these mistakes that I see lots of people make all the time. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Newen, and I live stream about live streaming. I help coaches, consultants, and creative pros build their business using video with ease. Now, make sure that you also check out the, that was not flawless. Make sure that you also check out the links in the description, because I'll go back and I'll put all of the timestamps and any of the show notes and resources that I mentioned in this actual video. So let's get right into the content. Now, here we go. Whenever people think about live streaming, grabbing a sip of water. Now, whenever people think about live streaming, this is what they typically visualize. They see this beautiful set, they see, lights, they see really expensive backdrops, and this is the typical, I'm just going to make sure that I'm actually getting some, can you hear me? Yeah, sorry, I'm just feeling a bit nervous because I'm using a new microphone and some sets. So whenever people think about live streaming, the vision that they have in their head is this massive production, right? They see expensive lights, they see a backdrop, they see expensive cameras, they see expensive microphones, and really complicated software. And it typically looks something like what you see here. Or alternatively, it looks a little something like this. So you've got, your equipment, you've got like all of these cameras and lenses and reflector lights, and this doesn't even look at things like software and sound effects and overlays and things like that. The problem with this, and the mistake that I see lots of people make that kind of keeps them stuck, is that in terms of the effort of live streaming, the lights, the equipment, the cameras, the backdrop, and the software, this is the scene stuff, the top stuff that you see above the iceberg, right? And this is the stuff that most people focus on because it's the sexy stuff. It's the easy stuff. I wouldn't even say it's easy. I'll say it's just, it's the thing that they think will get them the actual results. But really, the things that will really create an impact, the things that will really make your Facebook live stream generate sales for you, generate leads for you, build your authority so that you can make brand deals, so that you can use it as a tool to grow your business, is this unseen stuff, right? The stuff at the bottom of the iceberg. And the bottom of the iceberg is the part that is 100% less sexy. People don't see it, but it's the thing that moves the needle in your business. And the problem is that most people, they stay stuck here. They stay stuck in the tip of the iceberg items for live streaming, and they stay stuck there. And the problem is the whole thing doesn't work unless you focus on everything. And if I had to break it down in terms of percentages, I would say that the tip of the iceberg is probably 1/10 of your effort. And when the rest of this unseen stuff, the stuff that people don't see, the less sexy stuff, is 90% of your effort. I would probably even say it's probably even 95%, but that's neither here nor there. And I think like it's so easy to get stuck in trying to get the best setup, trying to get the best equipment because it's so seductive. And this is what happens when people get stuck in this actual cycle. So what happens is that people will buy stuff to live stream. So they will, here's a picture of money, they'll buy all this stuff to live stream with. And they also get this dopamine hit because when you buy stuff, your brain gets this trigger of, yay, I'm getting some stuff, and it makes them feel all excited and happy. But then what happens is they buy all this stuff, they spend all this money, and then they live stream thinking this is going to make the live stream work for me. And then they live stream, and then what happens? It doesn't work in terms of generating the impact. It doesn't work in terms of giving them the results that they want. And it doesn't work in terms of giving them the leverage that they expected for the live stream. So what happens next? They'll go and they'll buy things again, right? So they go around and around in this circle of buying stuff, getting that dopamine hit, live streaming, and then it's like, oh, that light I brought, that didn't move the needle, that didn't get me any more leads from the live stream. I must need to buy more lights. Or actually, I may need to redo my entire backdrop and spend 6 weeks investing in stuff to have the best backdrop. You go around and around in this vicious circle. And this is where people spend too much of their time, too much of their energy, instead of focusing on the actual part that is important and that will move the needle. And the goal in being in business is that you want to have a business that makes money, and you can't make money if, one, you're spending it all on your equipment, and two, you're not focusing on the things that actually will generate income, that will actually generate those leads for you from the live stream. So, the analogy that I like to say is that the problem is that people really focus on the tip of the iceberg stuff, the seen stuff, but it's the unseen stuff that really helps you to connect with your audience and to grow your business. And it really is like having a sexy car, like a sexy Tesla with no engine, because it looks amazing. I want one. I need to have it. But a Tesla or any car without an engine, it's not going to move. It's not going to get you, it's not going to do what it needs to do, and it's not going to get you results. And this is the biggest problem I see with live streaming. People are so obsessed with the lights. People are so obsessed with the latest microphone. People are so obsessed with getting, a stream deck or, an audio deck, that they don't focus on the biggest thing that will move them in the business with the live streams. And so you may be saying, all right, you're talking a lot about what I should be focusing on instead. What actually is this? And the reality is, the thing that you need to be focusing on is your content. And you may be sassing me right now going, okay, what about my content should I be focusing on? And one, don't sass me. I'm going to break it down right now in terms of what it actually means in terms of focusing your content. This is the unseen stuff. This is the high impact stuff that will move the needle. So in terms of content and what you should be focusing on, let's make sure that I've got this pen working. It really comes down to 3 things. The first thing, I think, when it comes to content, hello pen, is that you really need to be focusing on, and my pen is deciding not to work right now, the deliverability, right? You need to be focusing on how are you delivering the teaching points in your live stream. I see a lot of people go live, and the problem is that they go live and it takes so long to get to the point, and no one has time for that these days. On your live stream, you need to be very clear about the message that you want to deliver or the teaching point that you want to deliver, and to do that very succinctly. And I'm not saying that you need to script every single word of your live stream. That doesn't work for everyone. Some people may need to script everything, but you do definitely need to have a structure to your live streams and to all of your videos. Every live stream has to have purpose. Every live stream has to have structure if it's going to be impactful, if people are going to be able to get learning points from it. So that's the first thing, delivery. My pen's not working, that's okay. The second part is that in terms of your content really needs to be based on research and data. Now, what does this actually mean? A lot of the times I see people live stream and they're talking about topics that doesn't quite feel aligned to what their audience may be experiencing. And what do I mean by this? So this means if you're going live and you haven't done any research, so that the topic that you're actually going live about, there's no actual data to back it up, to say that people are having this problem. And you may be saying, what do you mean by data? Data can be anything. Data can be like, you finding that there's this problem from seeing it in the comments or seeing it on a Reddit field or talking to your actual customers or talking to people, or keyword research. So you haven't done any research to know that the topic that you're going live about is actually something that is a problem because you haven't backed that up. You're going live on topics that you think is right, not actual topics that your audience feels is an actual problem. And I see this all the time. It's like, how do you get topics to live stream about? It's like you find that data to back it up. It's really, really important that you focus on delivering content that is actually solving problems for people, and you can get validation that this is a topic that that people are looking for through research. And it's so, so, so important. Now, the other thing to talk about now is that we talked about your content needs to be, you need to deliver on point. We talked about how your content needs to be based on actual research and data, not on what you think that it should be. And the third thing is that in terms of your content, and this is probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, is that you need to have different types of content for different audience temperatures. And listen to this. So this is probably the part that people miss the most, right? They think you live stream, content is just content. No, content is not just content. You need to think about your different audiences. And I'm not talking about your different audiences in terms of the demographics, in terms of their age, genders. No, that's not what I'm talking about. In terms of your audience temperature, I'm talking about cold audiences, so people who've never heard of you before, the types of information that they're looking for, and people who may not quite be aware that they've got the problems that that they have. And then I'm talking about warmer audiences, so people who already know who you are. And this, I understand, may be difficult when you're first starting out. You may not have a large audience, and that's okay too. But there's different topics for people who are a little bit familiar with you and who are a little bit more familiar with the problem that they're having. And I'll talk about an analogy to make this a little bit clearer shortly. And then there's, your hot audience. They're ready to buy. People who know from you, people who know that they have their problem and that you can solve it. So let's have an actual example for this, because it makes more sense when it's wrapped in an actual example. So in terms of cold audience, let's just say that you are a health and fitness professional. So you sell coaching or programs for, people to help them lose weight. So an example of your cold audience is someone who may not have heard about you, or someone who's just beginning to look for different solutions to help them lose weight. They're kind of cold. They don't quite know exactly what they need to do. So they're kind of just at the beginning stage of becoming aware that in order to be healthier, in order to lose weight, in order to improve their quality of life, they need to make a change. Now, this audience, in terms of warmer people, would be people who have seen some of your content before, or people who are aware that they have a problem. They need to lose weight. They need to get healthier. They're aware that, okay, at the very least, they need to make changes to their lifestyle in some form. They may not be aware of what these changes are, but they're more aware of, okay, there are things probably in relation to food, or there are things in relation to exercise that they need to look up. So these people are a little bit more informed and they're warmer. And then in terms of like hot audiences, these are people who have heard from you. They're very aware they've got a lot of pain, and they're aware that they need to do specific things that you can offer in order to help them lose weight, in order for them to get the results that they actually want. So this is what I mean by you need to have content for different audience temperatures, because if you're just providing one level of content, you're not going to start to shift people and turn them from viewers into buyers. So you need to have different content types for different audience types. And this is where people should be focusing on their efforts, as opposed to buying another camera, buying another lens, buying another light, buying another microphone. Goodness knows how many conversations I see about the best microphone. The best microphone is the one that you've got, so you can just live stream with it. Anyway, I'm going to calm down a little bit. So the third part about content that you need to focus on that will move the needle in your business in terms of live streaming is showing up consistently. And this may sound really simple, but it's something that I see people don't do, right? So showing up consistently means showing up more than once every 2 months. It means, I'm not saying you have to live stream every day, although that is pretty consistent if you're able to do that. It really is the more content that you create, the more opportunities you have to demonstrate your expertise and to connect with people and to move them from viewers into buyers. So the three things that you need to do in order to really shift with your content is to focus on the delivery, nailing that content, making sure that it's structured, making sure that you get to the point quickly, do not dabble, and making sure that the information you present is good quality information. The second thing is to focus on making sure that the content that you present topics on actually is data backed, that you know that this is a topic that people are having problems with, that you can provide a solution to. And then creating content for different audience temperatures. So we're getting really sophisticated with our content here, because this is what is the high impact stuff that will move the needle in your business. And so what happens when you let go of obsessing about all of the equipment, all of the software, all of the overlays, all of the animation, and you focus on content, right? A lot of things happen. So you start to become more confident as you live stream more, and you really get refined on your content. And content is what builds that connection, is what builds authority, and it's what builds trust. And as people start to see more of your videos, it opens the doors to more leads. It opens the doors to more sales, to brand deals and collaborations. And I know this because I've seen it for myself and for my clients and for people who've done my courses. It's about that consistency and that quality of content. It's not just live streaming for the sake of live streaming. And when you start to focus on these high impact content components of your live streaming, you really start to enjoy the process of live streaming. I know a lot of people, when they first started, it's daunting, it's overwhelming, and it takes a while to get used to. But when you start to see, hey, I'm live streaming regularly, people are engaging with it, I'm getting leads from it, I'm getting brand deals from it, you really start to enjoy the whole process. And I feel like now I love live streaming. I love the process. I love researching, I love creating the content, I love live streaming and all of the results that I get after a live stream. So that is exciting for me. And if you focus on the high impact stuff, remember, I'm going to go back to my little iceberg diagram. The high impact stuff, the stuff at the bottom of the iceberg. A year from now, if you solidly focus on the content, on refining your content, on delivering more content based on your research, then a year from now, I just think of the catalog of content that you'll have. I think of the connection that you'll build, and I think of the viewers that you'll have, and then importantly, you have all these live streams. You've shown up. People will see it, and then remember that you should also be focusing on getting these people into your sales mechanism, and this generates income, this generates impact, and this generates results from your Facebook live stream. So a year from now, if you're focusing on the content, things will change, but you need to get to that point where you let go of obsessing about every tiny update that Facebook makes, and you need to stop focusing on every tiny microphone that comes out to think, is this the best microphone? The best microphone, the best camera, the best light is the one that you've got. Focus on the content, focus on the content, focus on the content. So that essentially wraps up the live stream today. So I talked about a couple of things. So I talked about the biggest mistake that people make with their live streams, and that is focusing on that tip of the iceberg 10% stuff, which people see, which is the equipment, the lights, the software, the animations, which doesn't actually move the needle unless you focus on the whole thing and the high impact stuff, which is the bottom of the iceberg stuff. And that's the content, and then the different layers of content. I talked about what focusing on the content actually means, and it's about delivering amazing content. It's about putting data behind the topics that you present, and it's about content, creating content for different audiences, and about consistency as well. Now, if you found this video useful, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you're looking for more ways to grow your business with live streaming, you're in the right place. You're on a live stream about live streaming, and I've got these Facebook Live cheat sheets for you. So it's a super simple way to get you up and streaming on Facebook Live, even if you've never hit record before. To get your hands on it, simply click on the link in the description below, and thanks for watching.